Welcome to Dalby Village Hall. We are here, we're standing outside at the moment. It is beautiful down here. If you happen to be in the area, well worth popping in, not least because there's a lot of soda cakes being baked inside, Beth.
Which you have already sampled.
I have. Do you know what? It's my first ever soda cake experience.
You weren't slow going in for it, love.
So tasty.
We're just standing outside the door just to take in the beautiful garden they've got here. I wish I knew more about flowers and could name some of them for you, but they are just gorgeous. This is a magical part of the world. We're going to be finding out more about that a little bit later, but I think we should go in and meet some of the people as we continue our Village Hall series. Here we are in the west of the island. So this is Dalby Village Hall, attached to St James's Church.
You can see all of the video as well of this, by the way. We should say it is being streamed live.
So we'll say hello to everybody who's baking. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, there's a lot of activity going. We came in over an hour ago now, and they were already baking up an absolute storm. There must be hundreds of soda cakes here. I want to try and get through all of them, Beth.
Well, I think you've made a good start. But let's find out a little bit about the history of where we are today. And Cheryl Cousins, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
What's your connection to Dalby Village Hall then?
It's been my life for years. We can't remember when this started, but it was in the mid-80s, we think. And at the time, I was a potter running a craft centre downstairs. And there was a public meeting because they discovered dry rot throughout the building, upstairs particularly, but it went right through the building. And there were only 3 80-year-old people still worshipping here. So there was no money, and there was a public meeting to close the building. And about 30 people turned up, which was unbelievable in those days. And at the end of that meeting, I discovered I was the coordinator for Friends of St James's, and I was in my 20s. So, yeah, and I've been here ever since.
And it's seen a great deal of change, not least in the past sort of year or so when the downstairs has been developed, and so much happens here. Just give us a flavour.
Yeah, it's just a community centre. So we've got a definite understanding here that it's church and community, and most of the time we don't know where the two one ends and the other starts. But people know that there's no heavy evangelism going on. If they come and are part of what happens in the schoolrooms, then that's a community hub, really. And the same people help me set up for church services with love. And so, yes, there's loads going on. It's very much a centre for the village. It's used by a wide range of people. We have initially, I suppose, it started as fundraising activities to try and deal with the dry rot. So we started 30-something years ago with one event every month, and we've done that for the last 30-something years.
And it certainly has grown since then.
And Cheryl's being very humble here because I've been given a list of the various things that Cheryl's involved with from Margie, who we're going to speak to in just a moment. I'm just going to read them out. So, local minister, she does meditation, art classes, hub coordinator, website and email coordinator, gardener, mums and tots coordinator, and I would imagine many more things beside. You're clearly a very, very busy person, Cheryl. We're also joined by Beryl, who you were there in the very early days of setting up the Friends of St James as well.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you remember from that time.
Well, I remember the place being in a bad state and discussing what we were going to do about it, whether they would close the church and we managed to arrange to set up the Friends of St James. And since then, it's just gone from one height to another, really.
And you've been very much a part of this community for many years, and I believe you were part of you ran the Glenmay Post Office, is that right? Tell us about that.
Oh, that's, unfortunately it's closed now, but I had
Glenmay, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was.
I loved it there, and I really enjoyed myself. And I used to come up here to church, you know. Now I'm living in Peel, and it's not quite so easy for me to get up because I'm not driving any longer. But
you still coordinate the Whist Drive,
yes.
And Beryl's done that for years. Whist Drive's gone on longer than the Friends of St James's. None of us know when the Whist Drive started. So, yeah, she's still very involved.
And actually, we were talking to you about the Whist Drive before, and you said it can be quite competitive.
Well, sometimes it is, but on the whole, it's a friendly meeting, and we have a cup of tea and a piece of homemade cake and a sandwich in the interval, plus a raffle, We do it once a month on the second Tuesday, and so, you know, we like to see anybody here that comes, but really nowadays the younger people don't seem to play cards like we did, as you know, but we enjoy ourselves here. The first time I came up, I was sitting having tea at the table with the four of us round the table and talking to the lady next to me, and she said, "Where did I come from?" And I said, "I came from London." And she said, "What part?" And it turned out she lived in the next road to me. And we went to the same school, but she was several years older than I was. So we didn't know each other from that, but, you know, I felt, you know, I was coming home sort of thing.
It's lovely, and it does seem to have that real sort of community and connected feel here in that respect.
Well, I think we use the word hub quite a lot, and I don't think anywhere sort of personifies that better than here, because from young to old there is something going on in Dalby for people. And Margie Killier, what I love about anybody who's connected with this place is that you don't just have one role. You are Friends of St James's coordinator, baker and maintenance coordinator.
Yes, we all bake. We all bake. I was just saying to someone before, when anyone new moves into the village, one of the first questions is, do you bake? Because most of all our events are homemade cooking. Everything's homemade, so the more people we get to bake with us, the better. As you can see today, we've got a good crowd of bakers with us.
And of course it is the home of the World Bonnet Championships as well. Are there any secrets that you're going to let us have?
All our secrets are in our book.
Ooh. Is this a book that people can look at, or is this
A Slice of Dalby. It's the best cookery book in the world.
Can we just clarify the pronunciation of Dalby? It is Dalby, not Dalby.
Yes, it's Dalby. Yeah.
Some of the historic photographs, it's actually spelled D-A-W-B-Y.
Oh, is it really?
And there's one photograph which has the Ballacallan village rather than Dalby village. That's quite an old one. So, but D-A-W.
Now we know.
We do, and we'll be finding out much more about this town, and also we'll be speaking to James Franklin from Culture Vannon as well about the various histories and stories around a certain talking mongoose.
The Dalby
a
spook.
bit later as well, the Dalby spook, exactly. But when we did our Village Hall series from Arbury, we started with a particular piece of music by the Kinks, which seemed to work extremely well, the Village Green Preservation Society. So let's have a different version of it now. You like this lady, don't you, Beth?
I really do. Kate Rusby.